Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 11, text 45. Adrishtapurvam hrishitosmi drishtva bhayena cha pravyathitam mano me tadeva me darshaya deva rupam prasida devesha jagannivasa. So Arjuna says to Krishna, Adrishtapurvam, Purvam Adrishta. I have never seen this form before. But seeing like this, seeing this form, especially exhibited by my friend Krishna, my beloved Krishna, I am gladdened, I am engladdened. Hrishitosmi drishtva adrishtapurvam hrishitoshmi drishtva. Having seen this, I am engladdened. But bhayena cha pravyathitam manome. But in my mind, I have fear. I am perturbed by fear. See, there is this opposite emotions. One is engladdened emotion and then at the same time fear. So therefore he is saying, Tadeva me darshaya deva rupam. O my Lord, please show me your form, deva rupam, as the personality of Godhead. Become pleased upon me. Prasida devesha, O Lord of the Lords. Jagat nivasa, O refuge of the universe. So Prabhupada says in the purport, Arjuna is always in confidence with Krishna because he is a very dear friend. And as a dear friend is gladdened by his friend's opulence, Arjuna is very joyful to see that his friend Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and can show such a wonderful universal form. But at the same time, after seeing that universal form, he is afraid that he has committed so many offenses to Krishna out of his unalloyed friendship. Thus, his mind is disturbed out of fear, although he had no reason to fear it. Arjuna is therefore asking Krishna to show his Narayana form because he can assume any form. This universal form is material and temporary, as the material world is temporary. But in the Vaikuntha planets, Krishna has his transcendental form with 4 hands as Narayana. So, as you can see, he became gladdened at his friend's opulence. So, becoming gladdened at other devotees' opulence or their advancement or their natural gifts or whatever is bestowed upon them, if we become gladdened, that is the sign of devotee. The greatest obstacle on the path of spirituality is not caused by external challenges posed by the world, but by our own false ego. Like Bhagavatam describes the envious activities of Kaliya, who poisoned the sacred river Yamuna and killed all of Krishna's friends and cows. And Kaliya was proud of his destructive activities and couldn't stand anyone else happy. When Krishna sported on the waters of Yamuna, Kaliya was infuriated and rushed madly at Krishna to kill him. This reveals how the envious are proud of their activity, which is nothing but poison. Their enjoyment is in seeing others suffer, and their suffering is when others are happy. So, our spiritual advancement is dependent on how we become free from these envious tendencies. The nature of envy is we cannot tolerate others being empowered and successful. And if we are pained to see others' success, Krishna is pained by us. And we make advancement not by causing pain, but only when we are motivated to give pleasure to Krishna. That's what pleases Krishna. When we serve Krishna and see that other devotees and in general others are happy, Krishna becomes happy with us. And you see, Krishna, he subdued this wicked serpent Kaliya by dancing on his hoods. Kaliya's poison and blood came out of his mouth as Krishna expertly danced on his hoods. Similarly, as Krishna in the form of his holy names, when he dances on our tongues, the poison of envy comes out of our hearts. So we need to let Krishna dance on our tongues to eke out that envy within us. And why did Krishna become so merciful upon Kaliya? Because of Kaliya's wives, who were exalted devotees of the Lord, who prayed for their husband's deliverance. Like Hiranyakashipu was delivered because he was connected to his devoted son Prahlad. So, petitioned by the wives of Kaliya, Krishna spared the life of Kaliya, but he purified him out of all his poison. And he did it very effortlessly. Krishna didn't even look at Kaliya while dancing and punishing him. Even the best martial arts experts, they have to look at the opponent while fighting. And to add insult to the injury, Krishna not only simply danced on his hoods, but also occasionally played the flute to delight his devotees who were getting feared what is going to happen. And so Kaliya vomited all the poison and blood. He was humbled and he eventually surrendered to Krishna. And Krishna forgave him, seeing his repentance. So when Krishna dances on our tongues in the form of holy names, the poison and the envy, they go out, and we continue to chant and we become pure and pure. Srila Prabhupada went to the America, came to the US at an advanced age of 70 years to give this holy name of Krishna to everyone. From Vedic standards, the Western young American hippies were considered untouchables. But Srila Prabhupada, he mercifully gave them the most purifying holy names of Krishna and allowed Krishna to dance on their tongues. So, just like the pure devotees, the wives of Kaliya prayed for their husband, Srila Prabhupada, he prayed for these youth and their hearts got purified and they surrendered to Krishna. Prabhupada wrote one letter in 1973. One devotee was asking how to become free from envy. So Prabhupada said, simply by chanting Hare Krishna, Lord Chaitanya has said, the heart will become cleansed of all the dirty things accumulated in the heart. It is not that we have to endeavor separately to become rid of envy or any deficiency or impurity. In this age, the chanting of Hare Krishna is recommended as the only possible method to associate with Krishna. By offenseless chanting, when we associate with Krishna through his holy name, then all inauspicious things are cleared from the heart. So wherever you are, you should always go on chanting. And that in itself will bring all perfection. So yesterday in the temple, we were there and for Vaikuntha Ekadashi. And in the morning, we display all the various quotes of Srila Prabhupada about chanting. And there was one such quote Prabhupada was recommending for a visitor, inquisitive visitor. And he was saying, simply go on chanting, and everything will be eventually revealed. This movement was started simply by chanting, and it is still going on. The chanting is still going on, and how the movement got expanded. See how powerful that chanting is. No other medicine, no other mechanism will be effective to to cleanse our hearts. We can cleanse our bodies, but how will our mind, how will our heart be cleansed? Only by chanting the holy name. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. But at the same time, when you go to the spiritual world, even in spiritual realm, there is competition. One might think, oh, still, what is this? Even after becoming devotees, they are having some kind of rivalry. What is this? So that is not to be misunderstood. For example, Srila Prabhupada himself encouraged book distribution in various temples of his, and he ignited that competitive spirit. And Prabhupada, one time he said, he was in Los Angeles, and he said he would leave Los Angeles and stay in San Francisco if they distributed more books. So he was fanning that fire of book distribution. He would encourage the leaders to send him reports, and he would respond with letters, raising that book distribution fever even higher. And when Prabhupada sent the handwritten note down from his room in Los Angeles, he said, everyone should go with the Sankirtan party as soon as possible. And that one line had created a spirit of sacrifice and dedication in the hearts of many disciples. And so many devotees took it to their heart. And it spread to other places all over his temples. And even in London, when devotees in London reported to Srila Prabhupada their increase in books and magazine sales, he responded by inviting them to compete. And he said, I've heard in San Francisco that they are selling daily not less than 75 Krishna books. So I'm very encouraged to hear this. Now take this spirit of transcendental rivalry and consult with Dayananda and others there in England to become the first rate booksellers. So, like this, he would encourage that competition. And so some devotees became confused by by these god brothers, god sisters calls for competition and rivalry. It seemed like the rivalry of the material world, which they hoped to leave forever. But Srila Prabhupada explained the proper attitude of transcendental competition. See, the competition and the profiteering spirit are always there in the living entity. It's not that they can be artificially removed. But it has to be dovetailed. The difference is that a devotee, he works for the profit of Krishna. The competition is who can give Krishna more pleasure. Even amongst the gopis, there is competition to please Krishna more. And their enviousness is transcendental enviousness. Oh, she has done something wonderful than me. That is very nice. But now let me do something even more wonderful. And the other person becomes engladdened. They praise. And then the other person tries to do more. So you see, like that, there is a healthy competition. There is no malice. There is no feeling of bringing down others. There is no feeling of happiness when somebody goes down. The happiness is when somebody serves Krishna more. So that is the nature of transcendental competition, unlike the material competition. There is always cooperation, there is always servant attitude. If Krishna is going to be pleased, I will also contribute for it. And I will also try my best to please Krishna. So this is the nature of transcendental competition. But if one becomes envious, especially of, we should not become envious of even a materialist, what to speak of a devotee. Even a materialist, we should see, they are able to enjoy because of the mercy of Krishna. Krishna has sanctioned. But unfortunately, they are not knowing that by going more and more in sense gratification, they are paving their way for misery in the future. And out of mercy, the devotee tries to give them spiritual knowledge. But the devotee never becomes envious. And particularly, we should not be envious of a Vaishnava. And what to speak of a pure Vaishnava? Like Prabhupada often he said, when he became successful, many of his god brothers started to envy him and spread false propaganda about him, how he was just doing some expert organization and nothing to do with spiritual power and so on and so forth. But actually, Chaitanya Charitamrita says, Krishna Shakti Vina Taranam Nahe Pravartana. Without Krishna's potency, one cannot spread the holy name. So if one is envious, that person should be upeksha, neglected. One should love the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should make friendship with Vaishnavas, proper Vaishnavas. One should give mercy to those who are ignorant, and one should avoid those who are envious. So we should be very careful about the company we keep. And Prabhupada, in one purport, he wrote, there are many jealous people in the dress of Vaishnavas in this Krishna consciousness movement, and they should be completely rejected, neglected. There is no need to serve a jealous person who is in the dress of a Vaishnava. When Narottam Das Thakura says, Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistar Payeche Keba, he is indicating an actual Vaishnava, not an envious or jealous person in the dress of a Vaishnava. So that is the nature of envy and the nature of transcendental envy. And we see how Arjuna is becoming engladdened to see his friend's opulence. And then Prabhupada said in the purport, his mind became disturbed out of fear, and Arjuna is therefore asking Krishna to show his Narayana form because he can assume any form. So, actually, when Krishna assumed the form of Narayana, the gopis they came and they were looking for Krishna, but Krishna assumed the form of Narayana and giving them darshan. And gopis saw, oh, there is Lord Narayana, and they offered respects to him and went away looking for Krishna. So they loved Krishna, they worshipped Narayana, but love was for Krishna. They were naturally attracted to Krishna. So that is the highest natural state of the living entity, to be attracted by Krishna. But in our sadhaka stage, we should follow the rules and regulations because we have not come to that stage of the gopis. We worship Krishna like how in Vaikuntha they worship Narayana with all grandness, with all opulence and reverence. And Prabhupada says the universal form is material and temporary, as the material world is temporary. So this material world eventually goes away, and with it, obviously, the universal form of the Lord goes away, and again comes into being when the material world is manifested. So, in that sense, the universal form is material and temporary, as the material world is temporary. But in the Vaikuntha planets, he has his transcendental form with four hands as Narayana. There are innumerable planets in the spiritual sky, and each of them, Krishna is present by his plenary manifestations of different names. Thus, Arjuna desired to see one of the forms manifested in the Vaikuntha planets. So, in the Vaikuntha space realm, there are different Vaikuntha planets. In each of the planets, there is a particular four armed Narayana form of Krishna. Like the four arms of Narayana, they carry Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma. And based on the different order of holding these symbols, some Narayana forms hold Chakra, Shankha, Gada, Padma, Padma, Shankha, Gada, Chakra, like that, different orders. And based on that, their names are also different. Like the 24 names of Lord Narayana are mentioned in the scriptures. But all these forms are one and the same to Krishna. They are manifestations of Krishna. Advaitam achyutam anadimananta rupam आद्यं पुराणपुरुषं नवयौवनं च वेदेषु दुर्लभमदुर्लभमात्मभक्तौ गोविन्दमादिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि. So all these forms are non-different from Krishna. Advaitam, they are not different. They are Krishna only. Krishna Swayam Samabhavat. In teachings of Lord Chaitanya, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, these 24 forms are named. Different names are mentioned. Like Vasudeva has mace, conch shell, disc, and lotus flower. And Sankarsana, the mace, conch shell, lotus flower, and disc. Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and so on and so forth. Different names are also mentioned. And devotees, they worship Narayana in all these different planets. And in Krishna Loka, the devotees worship Krishna in two-armed form of Krishna. So this Deva Rupam that Arjuna is asking is the Narayana form that Arjuna wanted Krishna to display. Arjuna wants to prove that Krishna is the origin of all the forms of Godhead. Devesha is asking. You are the ultimate controller, whether of the universal form or Narayana. He is the origin. And sometimes people, they have a spiritual rivalry. Oh, Narayana is the origin. Bhagavatam clearly says, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Brahma Samhita confirms, various scriptures confirm. But still, we should clearly understand that they are all one and the same. They are all expansions of Krishna. So Chaitanya Charitamrita author Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, it doesn't matter what people say, whether Krishna is the origin or Vishnu is the origin. They are all one and the same. The only thing that matters is you worship Vishnu Tattva. You worship Krishna or Vishnu, Narayana, Lakshmi Narayana, Radha Krishna, Sita Ram. Similarly, when you chant Hare Krishna, the same mantra can be used to worship Lakshmi Narayana, Lakshmi Narsimha, Sita Rama, because they're all expansions of Krishna. Hare means energy of Krishna. Krishna is Krishna himself. Similarly, when Krishna takes the form of Lord Narayana, that Krishna refers to Narayana, Hare refers to Lakshmi Devi. Or When Krishna takes the form of Ramachandra, that Krishna refers to Rama, Hare refers to Sita. But the highest form of worship is worship of Radha Krishna. So just by simple chanting of Hare Krishna mantra, everything is included. That is why it is Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. As I said, go on chanting and everything will be revealed. So we have to carefully chant and listen very attentively, each and every word. Then things will be revealed gradually. I'll stop here. Anyone has any questions or comments? भगवद गीता as it is की जाए, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जाए, निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल, हरे कृष्ण.